What's up, y'all? This is Billy from Perma Pastures farm. As you can tell, I'm not at the farm. I'm in someplace else, and I'm actually, well, I'll put it this way, y'all. It's bear season. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's my man next to me. If you heard me on the podcast at all, you've heard me talk about him, and you've heard me talk about what he's doing and the money he raises and what he does with it and all the wonderful things that he does in this world. I had the great pleasure of meeting him a while back at the Self-Reliance Festival, and I've been wanting to touch bases with him again. So, folks, trust me, you're going to be glad you tuned in here. But first, like every good superhero, we need to hear an origin story, bro. So why don't you start there?
Oh my gosh, where did I come from?
If you tell me from Krypton, bro, I'm going to lose it.
Born and raised in upstate New York, grew up on a farm, raised in the Conservative Baptist Church, ran away at the age of 15 because I was stupid and I didn't realize that people make mistakes, God doesn't. But I saw a bunch of Christians behaving in a non-Christian way, and that pissed me off. And so I went as far as you could go in the other direction, played drums in satanic heavy metal bands for a decade, came back around, got baptized again, started playing drums in worship bands in church. I was living north of Dallas when all that happened, moved up to Oklahoma because I didn't like being around all the people, bought a piece of land, bought some chickens and then some goats, realized I hated goats, so I bought some sheep, and then sheep led to zebu cattle, and started a little company called Refuge Medical. We make first aid kits and teach people how to use them. Got a YouTube channel, Bear Independent, and there was like tornadoes and hurricanes just kept happening, and I had worked for FEMA back in the day for a while, and I was like, I want to go fix that, but without government involvement. So we started Grindstone Ministries. We're entirely privately funded, and I'm doing hurricanes and tornado stuff. And we got a phone call from a lady at a place called Bethany House that they needed our construction services through Grindstone because they rehabilitate juvenile human trafficking survivors. And I was like, that sounds like a worthy cause. We'll get on board with that. So we went and met with them, and we did a whole bunch of work. Massive scope creep. We didn't care. We were supposed to do the floors in one half of one building, and it ended up being like we touched everything. And the second to last day that we were there, I was walking out of the building that we were staying in, and the father just, like a pallet of conviction, fell out of the sky and landed on top of me. And I was like, hey, we need more of these places. And he was like, yeah, you're gonna build them. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for that shit. And he said, yeah, but did I stutter? I was like, son of a... So I'm like, I got tears streaming out of the corners of my eyes, arguing with the creator of the universe. Like, well, listen, Dad, you ever tried to negotiate with your dad? Okay, but what if,
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, look, you're gonna build them. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anything about that. And so got that deep conviction, talked to some of the other people in our organization with Grindstone, and we started a second 501c3, Kaleb House. Kaleb with the K.org, KalebHouse.org. Because Kaleb is a biblical badass. Mm-hmm. I love Kaleb. New Living Bear translation, him and Joshua are talking about divvying up the land when they come to the promised land. And Kaleb looks at Josh and he's like, yo, dude, I want that mountain. And Josh looks at Kaleb and he's like, if you can take it, you can have it. But there's like 3 damn giants up there in the hills. And Kaleb looks back at Joshua and goes, bro, I still got it. His exact words are, I am as good today as I was the day that Moses tapped us on the shoulder to go spy out the land. That was 45 years earlier. Yeah. He was 85 years old. And he's like, 3 giants, sounds good. Hey man, grab your axe, we're going up the mountain. So they go up there, they slaughter the giants in the promised land, and that land, Hebron, becomes a place where the threshing floor is first built, which becomes the site of the first temple. It's a threshing floor that David buys. So it's like this huge thing because Kaleb had the balls in the promised land to go fight giants. It had this lasting effect across generations for blessing. And so sometimes you gotta slaughter giants in the promised land, and that's why we picked the name Kaleb House, because I like his chutzpah, as the Hebrew speakers would say. And so we started Kaleb House as a 501c3 specifically to focus on restoration, and we're in the midst of building out the facility now. But in the process of building out a restoration facility, We got a phone call. There was 9 people that needed to get out. I was like, I'm not going to say no. I don't have a place to bring them, but I'm not going to say no. And so we went and did a rescue, and then we did another rescue, and we did another rescue, and so forth and so on. And as a result, we've ended up establishing a network of safe sites that we run that have got the children in our care, in addition to victim services personnel, white-collar professionals, security team, the educational team, the whole nine. As we build out as a separate course of action, building out the restoration facility, so we got a long-term place to bring these kids, because the critical need has always been restoration. It's good that
which is what's forgotten in most of these operations.
100%.
Right.
We need to do rescues, but if we do a rescue and we take this kid that's been trafficked and we take him over here and we put him into the broken foster care system, the recidivism rate there is statistically 78%.
Right.
That kid's got an 8 in 10 chance of being trafficked again. And I'm not saying that all foster parents are bad and all foster homes are bad. I'm just saying that a bunch of them are. And it's just a fact. These kids get trafficked over and over again because they've already been broken. And so, because, I hate to say it, man, but it's like breaking a horse. Once you break a horse, you don't have to break a horse again.
Yeah.
Or very rarely do you have to break a horse again. And the kids that are pimping, the kids that are being pimped out by these people are treated like livestock. They're treated like product, and it's like the saddest thing in the world. And so we want to break that generational curse, because this is a learned behavior, right? Statistically, 82 victims per victimizer. So one dude, we lock up one dude, that's 82 victims that we've prevented.
Wow.
Or if we break the cycle of behavior for one kid, that's statistically 82 more that we've saved. And so we started on the restoration side. We've ended up on both sides of the coin dealing with the victims. We call them survivors. We have no victim mentality in what we do. So dealing with the survivors and the victimizer. But we believe deeply, we're commanded to forsake not the widow and the orphan. In fact, it says in Deuteronomy, if you turn your eye away from the widow and the orphan, your wife will be a widow. Your children will be orphans. And the Father turned my eye to this. He pointed my heart towards it. And I hate the fact that it exists. I hate the fact that this is part of what we do and that we have to do it. But somebody's got to do it.
Right.
And we're doing ourselves a disservice if we rescue all these kids and we make them property of the state. The state in many cases was involved with the fact that they were trafficked in the first place. So by breaking that cycle, by doing the job that parents and government should have done in the first place, we can bring these kids over here into this program at Kaleb House that is a forever program. We don't have a 6-month or a 12-month program, because I'm not going to tell a 4-year-old they got a year to get their poop in a group and they kick them out on the street again. That's unacceptable. So we use a house parents model where it's the right type of people. You have to be convicted to do this and equipped by the Father to do this. That this is your house. It's your house here on property. This is your house. And these kids come into your house, they're your kids. Because I've got kids ages 1 to 19 in my care right now. What do you do with a 1-year-old? Right? Like, they're our kids. Right? And so kids come into this house, these are your kids. And you shall raise them up in the way that they should go, so they do not depart from it when they are older. And we learned this from our friends at Bethany House. The 6 facets of this is mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, educational, and physical. These are all the different facets of these kids that need attention. A lot of them have physical issues because they've been trafficked.
Right, absolutely.
Let's just say, if I did the things to you that they had done to them, you'd have physical issues too, which is also mental, emotional, spiritual. And there's a lot of interconnectedness with those 3 things that people don't realize. And because we're privately funded, we don't take a dime from the government. I don't have to affirm anybody's gender dysphoria or pay for anybody's sex change. Won't do it. we can address the triad of mental, emotional, spiritual together. And it was so cool because I didn't know you were going to be here, and you didn't know I was going to be here, and I was leaning up on Dudley's van over here, and I was like, that's Billy. And I don't know, a couple minutes later, you were like, Bear?
That's Bear.
And I was like, all right, group hug. You know, it was super cool. But I feel like the Father's even got his hand in this, because I never intended to be doing this. It wasn't like I saw, that this was happening and I'm going to go out there and make a change, make a difference. No, I intended to do some construction work at Bethany House and do one of these. Yep, that sucks. I'm glad you're handling it. Good job. And the Father just wouldn't let me do that. Like I said, he just crushed me and was like, we have to build more of these. And so we're in the process of building Kaleb House 1. Kaleb House 1 will allow us to house 40 to 60 kids there. Well, forever, for as long as they want to be there. And when they grow up and want to go out in the world, if they want to be an EMT, we'll pay for that. Or a cop, or if they want to learn permaculture, right? Yeah. Or they want to raise sheep. Well, I don't care. Whatever you want to do, as long as it's legal, moral, ethical, I got you, right? And then the goal from there, long-term vision is, dude, I want to be the McDonald's of restoration. I'm going to build these things until we don't need them anymore. Work ourselves out of a job. And the coolest thing, man, humbling. These kids that the Father has allowed us to rescue are so strong and resilient. I've had, in one situation, I had 3 of them, like a 14, 15, 16-year-old. And we were outside. It was bad. The place where we were at a safe site, and it had gotten blown. And so we had to bounce real quick to another safe site. And so it was a high-stress situation. I mean, like plate carriers and rifles, high-stress kind of thing. Because, again, the people that are pimping these kids view them as their product. They want their product back. Whole nother story. So we're outside, and I'm there, carrying a rifle, just keeping watch. And I've got these 3 kids sitting on this retaining wall, and they're quizzically studying me. And I said, all right, what do you guys got? What are you cooking up over there, And the youngest was their mouthpiece. Said, what do we have to do what you do when we grow up? I said, what do you mean? I said, what career path do we need to take? Like law enforcement, military, firefighter, like what do we got to do so that, like, how soon can we graduate from that thing and do this thing that you're doing right now? I said, why? And the oldest one spoke up. He said, because I still got friends back where we just came from. And we need to go get them. And I want to know, how quickly can we go get them? What do I have to do so that I can have the skills that you have, so that we can turn around, like how quickly can I get fixed and plussed up so that we can go back in here and get them? And dude, it just broke my heart. And I was like, anything you want to know, I'll teach you. And it's been so cool to see other people have come alongside of us to support what we're doing on the restoration side. But you break that cycle. Talk about problem solving. We break that cycle for that one kid, right? So I don't ever go from victim to victimizer. Break that cycle, put them back together again the way they're supposed to be, the way the Father intended them to be before the world broke them. So that's one win. Now they're not victimizing, so that's 82 wins. And then we build this one up, and they have the perfect testimony and experience to go out there into the world and be the next generation, right? And it's just, I don't even know if I have words for it, but the Father it's just been so cool to see the way he's revealed this process to us, step by step by step. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't know shit about this stuff, but I have been learning as quickly as I can, because I never intended to step off in this direction. But His grace and His mercy has been overwhelming, in the way that He has just equipped us with provision and protection and blessing has been insane. And so We're figuring it out as we go. I am not too proud to admit that, but we have just been flooded with people that know what they're doing and are passionate about this stuff. And we just recently had 12 kids graduate from our program,
wow,
which is super cool. And they're going out in the world now, you know, vocational schools and nursing and all this stuff. And it's like, it's just like when your son grows up and leaves your house, it's still your son. You know, you still love them. They might
right,
not be here every day, but you still love them. You're still there for them. And it's been really cool to watch this transition as it's happening, and knowing that it's totally not me, because I'm a stubborn idiot from Eastern Oklahoma, right? It's totally him, and it's so cool to just see what he's doing and how he's doing it, up to and including me just bumping into you here as if it was an accident or something.
Well, that's how it unfolds. I mean, that's it goes exactly the way the Lord wants it to. And folks, I didn't disappoint. I told you he was going to drop it in a way that you've probably never seen before. Many of you out there don't know Bear, you don't know what he's doing, but I strongly encourage you, go check him out, go check out his Patreon. You're going to be glad you did. Good night, man. I'm just floored at the selflessness of not only himself, but also the people he put together to do this work, because this is a great expense mentally, physically, financially. And the Lord has provided all that you needed. And we're going to do what we can at Perma Pastures Farm. And we're going to encourage everybody out there to go check him out, be a part of it. And you do a lot of cool medical stuff. He just sat here teaching a 2-hour medical class today. Where can people go to A, support you, B, where could they go to get some of this training that you'll provide, and also some of the kits? Why don't you tell us about that, Brett?
So with Kaleb House, again, it's Kaleb with a K, kalebhouse.org. And what I always tell people is I never want to be working counter to the Holy Spirit. So if you're not convicted, that's cool. Mazel tov. Ain't worried about it. There's 1,000 other ministries that probably need your money. And so I'm not going to sit here and shill and beg. Now, if the Father does convict you, the Spirit convicts you, cool. kalebhouse.org. At a minimum, you can go there and learn more about who we are and what we do. We've got Grindstone Ministries, which is our disaster relief ministry, which is super cool, 100% privately funded. After hurricanes and tornadoes, we just go help people. And praise God, there's no hurricane or tornado right now. So the last time I was at Self-Reliance Festival, Rolling Fork, Mississippi happened. And I was supposed to speak, and I was like, hey, love y'all, bye, I gotta go. And then, of course, we've got Bear Independent, the YouTube channel, Patreon, website, BEARindependent.com. And then Refuge Medical, we make handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever first aid kits. Started for the military, then moved into law enforcement, EMS, and fire, and now we do civilians as well. And Refuge Training teaches people the fine art of how to not die, which is what we've been doing here.
That's exactly what we're talking about, y'all. You would be remiss if you don't check out everything that he's doing. A lot of good training coming from the Bible over there. That's mostly what you do over there at the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've read every word of the New Testament on camera, from Matthew chapter 1 through Revelation 22. And I've read every word of the Old Testament currently from Genesis, Bereshit chapter 1, all the way through Ezekiel 37 currently. And the Father told me 5 years ago, hey, read my word. And I said, I am. And he said, on camera, you idiot. And I said, I don't really want to do that. And he said, cool, did I stutter? And so I just started reading. And Genesis, where do you start? In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens. Oh, right, got it. In the beginning. Start in the beginning, a-hole. And so anyway, yeah, I've read. My goal is to read every word of the Bible, all of it, on camera.
And you exegete a fair piece of it as well. It seems. Yeah. So you, folks, you're going to be blown away. When I first met Bear, I didn't know who he was from really anybody else. And my friend Darren at Hacks for the Homesteader, he says, man, this guy really knows the word. And I was like, okay, let me check him out. And then we shared a stage together. And then later on, it's like you always feel this connection, this bond, this fellowship, this brotherhood that doesn't easily break, and it won't. And folks, I'm going to highly encourage everybody out there. Look, we're going to be, to some extent or another, we're going to be working with Bear and his team, doing what we can from the permaculture angle. And I'm going to encourage everybody out there, support him any possible way you can, because as you can see, he's doing profound work that we talk about all the time, not only here, but also in YouTube. So, hey, man, thanks a lot for
Bless
being
you,
on here,
bro.
brother.
It is so good to see you.
Sorry I knocked snot on your hair, man. You got me all choked up, brother.
Well, apologies.
Hey, he does. He's got alcohol wipes in that kit, so it's all good. So, yeah, so help the next generation of Kalebs out there to fight off the modern day Nephilim.
Amen.
Yeah, so go check him out, y'all. You'll be so glad you did. We'll see y'all next time.
Bless y'all.